Cammie was really one of those community pillars in many ways.
Right now at 10, a woman is dead after a fatal crash in Cottage Grove. How the community is coming together to support her family. And raising awareness for survivors of sexual abuse, why advocates say more work needs to be done to keep UW students safe. Plus, 2 new Madison homes are ready to be lived in. The work being done by the city to make housing more affordable. It's all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. And good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Eric Franke. Sarah Carlson is on assignment tonight. We have continuing coverage as the Cottage Grove community remembers Dr. Cammie Hansen, hit and killed by a car while on a walk Monday evening. Our Maddie Heimsch speaks with local leaders about Dr. Hansen's legacy and has details on how you can help the family affected.
It was here at Abiding Shepherd Lutheran Church where Pastor Nate Abrahamson tells me about 100 community members gathered to remember Dr. Cammie Hansen on Tuesday night.
What we really need is to be with people who are feeling what we're feeling.
It's that sense of community that Abrahamson says Dr. Hansen herself cultivated.
Cammie was really one of those community pillars in many ways.
The mom and local business owner was killed suddenly by a car that veered off the road near the intersection of Landmark Drive and Michelle Lane.
There's all this shock and just wrestling with a lot of questions. People wondering too, like, why would this happen? Why would God let this happen?
According to a Facebook post by her clinic, Heartland Family Chiropractic, Dr. Hansen's husband avoided major injuries from the crash. Their son did sustain injuries and required surgery. Tuesday's vigil honoring them as well.
You could just feel the warmth and the love for the family.
To support the family's healing, the Cottage Grove Community Foundation and Chamber of Commerce have partnered in setting up a memorial fund.
And however the family decides to use the funds is entirely up to them. Whatever comes in goes directly back to the family.
John Russell is the executive director of the Cottage Grove Community Foundation. He tells me the foundation's very purpose is to support families like the Hansens.
It's a small community, and people that are active in the community, it really, people have a tendency to be able to touch one another, their neighbors, friends. Our kids go to school together.
Both the vigil and the memorial fund mirroring the togetherness Dr. Hansen is being remembered for. If you'd like to donate to the Hansen family, you can do so at cottagegrovecf.org/donate. Reporting in Cottage Grove, I'm Maddie Heimsch, News 3 Now.
We spoke with the Cottage Grove Police Department today. Officers say the investigation into the crash is ongoing. We'll provide updates right here on News 3 Now as we receive them. Some showers on the way across southern Wisconsin. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington joins us now with more details on when they might arrive. Alex.
Still not here quite yet. During the 5 and 6 o'clock newscasts, I said as we got a little bit later into the evening, those showers would finally make their way into the area. It's been very dry near the ground, so those showers have been trying to form and been struggling. But let's take a look at radar 3000. Would you see all that green around Madison? We call that ground clutter. That is just a pigmentation of the radar. But we may actually have some showers starting to form now over far southwest Wisconsin, down by Dubuque, over by Platteville, just south and west of Lone Rock. Those showers are likely starting to make it to the ground. I was just checking our relative humidities at the surface, and they're starting to get a little bit higher, and that allows those raindrops to make it to the ground. And there we go. Let's put future track. We'll go slow here. Showers breaking out as we head towards 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Getting some updates, too, with our weather models that these showers and maybe a clap or two of thunder may be a bit more on the widespread side. More widespread than I was thinking even earlier at 5 and 6, getting areas north and west of Madison. So that's good news. We could use more raindrops. Some parts of the area are still dealing with abnormally dry conditions and drought conditions, and then the relative humidity. It's not something I show very often, but notice down by Dubuque, it's getting close to 100%, and that means that moisture is starting to make it all the way to the ground, and those showers will start to finally make it to the ground here in southern Wisconsin. This also just updated. One of our weather models are bumping up the amounts of water, maybe overdoing it just a bit, but I said 1/4 to 1/2 inch at most during the 5 and 6 o'clock newscast, so maybe we might have upwards now of a 1/2 inch, maybe approaching an inch by the time this is all said and done as we get later into Friday. Coming up in Maine weather, though, we'll track those showers beyond the early morning hours of Thursday, and I'll let you know when they end and how nice that weekend still looks coming up.
Alex, thank you. Police say a Florida man who allegedly communicated with the Abundant Life Christian School shooter is now in custody. According to federal investigators, Damian Allen allegedly conspired with other individuals online to commit mass violence. A search warrant was executed at Allen's home Monday, and there, Palm Beach County deputies say they found police uniforms, 18 firearms, grenades, and more than 12,000 rounds of ammunition.
This is disturbing that somebody can get these type of items off the internet. It baffles me, to be honest with you. But this is a dangerous, dangerous individual. Can you imagine the damage he would have done with 12,000 rounds of ammunition and fully automatic ARs?
Now, according to an arrest affidavit, Allen and the 15-year-old girl who opened fire at ALCS back in December exchanged messages for months over TikTok. 2 people were killed in the shooting and 6 were injured. The woman accused of killing her mother in Blue Mounds appeared in court today. Sierra Schoonover received a $1 million cash bond. She is charged with first-degree intentional homicide. This is in connection to the death of Heather Schoonover. On April 18th, Heather Schoonover was found dead at a home on Smoky Mountain Trail. Police took Sierra into custody after she crashed her vehicle near Blue Rock Road along State Highway 78. She was in the hospital until just Monday. And at that time, she was booked into the Dane County Jail, and Sierra's next court appearance is scheduled for June 2nd. The Madison Police Department's 2024 annual report is out, and in total, officers responded to more than 191,000 reports for service last year. It's up almost 7,000 from the year prior. As for violent crime, the report shows homicides were down 30% in 2024. Aggravated assault dropped 6%. The robbery rate dropped about 17%. However, forcible rape was up 22%. Today is Denim Day. It's a day to advocate for sexual abuse victims. According to the National Sexual Violence Resource Center, 81% of female victims reported their sexual abuse or harassment, while 43% of male victims made an official report. In recent years, assault at UW-Madison and other college campuses has been consistent. The UW Police Department crime statistics from 2021 to 23 show there's consistently been at least 13 reports of rape on campus.
So there's a lot of students here that want to make campus safe and respectful for everybody, but we do still have work to do.
And there are resources for everyone, even if you are not a student. The National Sexual Assault Hotline number right there on your screen. It's 800-656-4673. Job seekers in the U.S. have had fewer options over the past few weeks. According to the ADP National Employment Report, private sector businesses added 62,000 positions in April, a sharp drop from the 147,000 that were added in March, much less also than what many analysts had expected. Among the areas that experienced layoffs, education and health services, information and professional and business services. Now on Friday, the April jobs report will be released. Economists are predicting a slowdown in employment gains. President Trump's trade war is heavily impacting America's ports. Container shipment bookings are down nearly 50% from a year ago. And with a 145% tariff, a container of Chinese goods worth $100,000 will now cost importers an extra $145,000. Some store owners are stockpiling toys and games that arrived before those tariffs were in place.
So I'm buying what I think I'll sell between now and September.
You sound like a hoarder.
I feel like a hoarder. If you've seen my stores, you would see the hoarding in the back rooms.
The executive director for the Port of Los Angeles, the busiest in the Western Hemisphere, says even if tariffs are brought down, it could take between 3 to 4 weeks before ships would finish their round trip to China. Stellantis slamming the brakes on its profitable growth forecast for the year. Back in February, the automaker said it expected to come back to profitable growth and cash generation this year. However, during a presentation today, they said those predictions were based on the trade rules and tariff levels that were in place back then. Earlier this month, Fitchburg's Common Council passed a new vehicle registration fee. It went through with a 5-4 vote, with the city's mayor serving as the tie-breaking vote. And this would be an additional $40 to any state and county registration fee. The issue failed to pass as a referendum on the November 2024 ballot. The city's administrator says it was a difficult but necessary decision to implement that fee. 2 new homes are ready to move in on Madison's southwest side. The city of Madison, the Madison Area Community Land Trust, and Wisconsin Partnership worked together to bring these 2 homes off the ground. Madison Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway says the 2 houses are the final puzzle pieces to complete the Mosaic Ridge development project.
It's part of our work to make sure that people in our community have the choices that they need to live in the neighborhoods that they want to live in and in the type of housing that they want to live in. It does require subsidy to provide affordable homeownership opportunities in Madison.
Now, to see if you qualify for affordable housing or learn more about home ownership resources, visit our website, channel3000.com. Disability rights advocates say the future of their work is uncertain. A leaked document from the Department of Health and Human Services shows plans to completely gut its administration for community living. That funds organizations like Disability Rights Wisconsin, DRW advocates for people with disabilities, and connect them to education equipment, even employment. And while the HHS cuts are part of the Trump administration's aim to cut waste, DRW says their work actually saves people money. New information in the cost of Medicaid cuts for Wisconsinites, in addition to Badger Care Plus, which has about 1 million members and covers things like preventive care, ER visits, and vaccines. The cuts could affect Family Care, IRIS, PACE, and the Children's Long-Term Support Waiver Program. Medicaid covers a fifth of Wisconsinites, including 40% of births and 38% of children in Wisconsin. The director of state Medicaid says even people not on Medicaid will bear the consequences.
Options are we could cover fewer benefits, but covering fewer benefits makes people sicker, which ultimately increase costs again. Or we could pay providers less. But again, if we pay hospitals and doctors and nurses less, they have to make up that revenue somewhere else, meaning that gets passed on to all healthcare consumers again.
Well, the Wisconsin Department of Health Services says the state could lose up to $16.8 billion over 10 years if the federal government makes those Medicaid cuts. Wisconsinites could end up on the hook for $93 additional as well. The Chicago Rockford International Airport announcing the return of several popular destinations, along with a new international route. Starting May 23rd, RFD is bringing back its direct flights to Nashville. The seasonal service will operate every Thursday and Sunday, I should say May 22nd. Those flights will start. The airport also bringing back its flights to Cancun and also Punta Cana, Dominican Republic, and a new route to Huatulco, Mexico. Will be replacing flights to Costa Rica. Ticket sales for those international flights will begin this Saturday. Still to come at 10, a Columbia University student is released from ICE custody. Plus, investors are worried after a new report claims the economy's growth is slowing. Why President Trump is blaming his predecessor. That's next.
Watching News 3 Now at 10.
A Columbia University student who was taken into custody by ICE is celebrating his freedom. Mohsen Mandawi spoke outside a Vermont courthouse this morning after a federal judge in the state ordered his release from custody pending the resolution of the case. The 34-year-old, one of the students leading pro-Palestinian protest at Columbia University. The Trump administration is still arguing for his deportation, claiming his presence and activities in the United States threaten American foreign policy.
If we have faith in our beliefs, unshakable beliefs, which is the belief that justice is inevitable, we will not fear anyone, because our fight is a fight for love, is a fight for democracy, is a fight for humanity.
ICE agents arrested him at what was supposed to be a citizenship interview. A day before his arrest, Badawi told CBS News he thought there was a chance his long-awaited naturalization interview could be a trap. The president faced some tough questions today as new reports show U.S. economic growth is slowing. Erica Brown has more.
Market volatility continued Wednesday as investors responded to news that U.S. economic growth slowed sharply this year.
That's Biden. That's not Trump.
President Trump downplayed the government data showing the gross domestic product contracted in the first quarter of 2025, its worst performance in 3 years.
He came in on January 20th. So this is Biden. And you could even say the next quarter is sort of Biden.
The GDP number was driven in part by a surge of imports as companies raced to get products before Trump's sweeping tariffs went into effect. On Wednesday, the president defended his tariffs on Chinese imports, even if it means higher prices for consumers for products like toys.
Maybe the children will have $2 instead of $30, you know? And maybe the $2 will cost a couple of bucks more than they would normally.
The Trump administration says the GDP numbers show momentum from job growth and trillions of dollars in new investments in America. But when it comes to tariffs, the president is facing pushback from members of Congress. On Wednesday, the Senate failed to pass a bill aimed at terminating the emergency declaration the president used to implement the tariffs. Kentucky's Republican Senator Rand Paul co-sponsored the bill and maintains the president has overstepped his powers.
Tariffs are taxes, plain and simple. Tariffs don't punish foreign governments, they punish American families.
Also on Wednesday, the U.S. signed a deal with Ukraine to create the United States-Ukraine Reconstruction Investment Fund, which will grant the U.S. rights to Ukrainian rare earth minerals. The signing concludes months of tense negotiations on security assurances for Ukraine and military support as the administration works to broker a peace deal to end Russia's war with Ukraine. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
Showers expected to move into the region overnight. This comes as a warm-up is on the way as well. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington with our full first warn forecast.
Yeah, we'll take the showers. We've got gardeners and farmers that need those showers out there and need that continuation of that water. And I think we'll all take a nice sunny weekend ahead. And how about a warm-up in the forecast? Those the three things that you need to know. Sounds pretty good to me, so let's get talking about the showers here. Right now, again, I was saying earlier in First Weather, all this green right here on the radar site in Sullivan is what we call ground clutter. What's actually making it to the ground down here towards Dubuque, over towards Platteville and Lone Rock, those are those showers that are going to start to inch their way towards the north and northeast. Earlier, I was explaining at 5 and 6, the relative humidity at the surface is very, very dry, 30–40% at 5 and 6 o'clock. And now it's getting up there, especially over southwest Wisconsin. So that rain is likely making it all the way to the ground and not evaporating by the time it gets to the ground. And by the time we get to 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, this is a change west to east. Rain showers, a couple embedded thunderstorms, not severe. We could have some lightning with some of these rumblers that come through, but more widespread. This looks a little bit more widespread than what we saw a little bit earlier in the 5 and 6 o'clock newscast. As we head towards 8 o'clock, still showers, bit of a breeze out of the north and northeast, and those showers and clouds carry on throughout the day on Thursday. Again, changes here with our weather models. It's live television, and well, weather changes too, and more widespread water is expected. Could see another batch of showers or two as we head into about this time Thursday night. And as we go into Friday, still a couple of showers dotting the scene. So a wet period of time Wednesday night, and it is Wednesday night, going into Thursday and going on into Friday as well. Upwards of maybe a half inch, 3/4 of an inch of water. That is spread across the entire viewing area now from northwest to southeast. Earlier that was confined closer to the Janesville area. So that is also a change, and we'll get an update with our drought monitor tomorrow. And this rain, we'll get an update next week as to how this rain affects the drought conditions next Thursday. Temperatures tonight, 40s to right around 50 degrees, clouds and showers building in, more widespread showers across the area as we go on into Thursday. It's going to hold those highs down into the 50s, mid 50s, maybe upper 50s if we're lucky. Have 58 here, but with that more persistent shower activity, I'm going to bump that high down into the low to mid 50s. Right now, 54 in Madison, still 60 in Boscobel, 54 in Janesville. Here in Dane County, a lot of 54s. We got a 55, 56 in Middleton, 57s out there too, so very mild for this time of year. The clouds are holding those temperatures up. But we got a 61 Saturday and then a 69 on Sunday. Eric in southern Wisconsin, the good part about this upcoming weekend, look at the bottom of Saturday going on into Sunday. Light winds. You don't always get light winds in the springtime. Sometimes you got those nice spring days temperature-wise, but it's a bit on the windy side and puts a bite in the air, and then you got to wear a long-sleeve shirt even though it's 70 degrees
Grill
outside.
covers in the neighbor's yard.
Right, exactly. And look at next week, though, too, 70s. So
we're long overdue for just a nice 60s sunny day. Been waiting a long time, and we're ready for May as well.
Ready for May, and we deserve it.
Alex, thank you. Zach?
Well, and coming up in sports, the Brewers come up big late in Chicago. The clutch hit that got the Crew the win is next on News 3 Now. It's been a little over 5 weeks since Wisconsin women's hockey added another national championship to their collection, bringing the total to 8. Now, if it were me, it'd be a summer of celebration, but that's not the case for the returning Badgers. Number 8 is just motivation to go back-to-back and get number 9 next year, because the tradition at Wisconsin is national championship or bust.
I think it's just continuing that legacy and not wanting to give up that national championship. You know, we believe it's ours and we want it to stay here. So I think that's a big motivator, and people might think, you know, just because we had such a good year, we might be more laid back and arrogant, but if anything, we want it even more because we don't want to give it away.
Wisconsin softball back in action, hosting UW Green Bay, and the Badgers wasted no time in this one. Bottom of the first, Hillary Blomberg smacks one right back up the middle for an RBI single. That was part of a 4-run inning for UW, but Blomberg wasn't done yet. 5th inning now, and the Verona native sends a Blomberg to center. The 3-run shot makes it 7-0. Badgers go on to win 8-0 the final. They'd also win Game 2. Brewers taking on the White Sox in Game 9 of their 10-game road trip. 8th inning, tied at 3 bases loaded for Jake Bauers, and he's like DoorDash, always delivering. Bauers bounces one to the wall to bring home 2, part of a 3-run inning for the Crew. Brewers get the win, 6-4, the final. Well, it was a heartbreaking end to another season of what-ifs for the Bucks. Up 7 with 40 seconds left, only to watch the Pacers win it at the buzzer. But it's what happened after the game that everyone's talking about. Seconds after it ended, Tyrese Halliburton's dad went up to Giannis and apparently started talking some smack to him. Well, the 2-time MVP had some thoughts on all that went down.
Coming to me and disrespecting me and cursing at me, I think is totally unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. I believe like being humble in victory. That's how I am. Now there can be a lot of people out there that are like, no, when you win the game, you gotta talk and you know it's a green light for you to be disrespectful towards somebody else. I disagree.
And former Badger Sarah Williams has found a new home, joining the reigning national champs UConn for her final year of college basketball. Last season at Wisconsin, she averaged 19 points, nearly 10 rebounds, and 2 blocks per game. Williams was named first-team All-Big Ten into the conference's all-defensive team for the 2nd straight season. We're back after this.
This one final check of the forecast.
If you want some water, gardeners and farmers, we got it in the forecast. Here we go, 6 o'clock in the morning, west to east. A lot of showers, maybe a rumble or 2 of thunder. Lightning would be the only real hazard that we'd be having with any thunderstorms that we would get tonight. Not looking at any severe weather, but as we put that into motion, showers continue through 8, 9, 10 o'clock. Even more showers coming in during the afternoon. Could be a pretty wet day, a bit of a difference from what we saw with Future Track in our 5 and 6 o'clock newscasts. Even some more showers Thursday night and a couple showers still on Friday. Then we dry out after that. Temperatures will get up into the low 60s by Saturday and 70 by the time we get to Sunday. So turn around, nice weather just around the corner.
All right, Alex, thank you. And thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 10. Have a great night.